Hey, this is JR, the expat OTG, and we're here at Hops and Brews today for Old Guys Talking Shit number 19. Hey, Jeff, did you check out the menu and find anything on there you like?
No.
Nothing you like?
Oh, I found what I like, but I looked under the salads because I'm trying to lose weight.
Oh, that's good. They have a pretty good selection of food. You can get food that's kind of light, and you can get some dishes that are pretty calorie loaded too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like their menu. Their food's really good here. Well, anyway, we haven't been out in a few days, and since number 18, a lot's happened, man. I'm going to tell you. Every time that I open the news, I see something that's just pretty amazing. What do you think about this Iran situation?
Well, Trump started something a while back and then stopped. And he started making promises to the Iranian people. Everybody waited and waited. About 30,000 deaths later. If I was an American, I don't know how far I could trust what Trump has to say.
Well,
to be honest.
I think I messaged you a couple of times on the fact that I was kind of disappointed in Trump because when he said he was going to help those people that they were gunning down, I thought he was going to do something right away.
Yeah.
And, maybe that wasn't the plan. And so 39,000 dead people later, the plan goes into effect. I'm just not sure about that.
What about Venezuela? He started something.
Yeah, but he did. You remember? Well, I think wasn't it Patton that managed Nazi Germany after the war, pretty much, and left all of the Nazi administrators in power. It's because they knew what to do. They knew which form to fill out, things like that. And I think that was the gist of the Venezuela thing, is that you have to leave somebody in to administer the country. And it's best if they know which form to fill out.
Okay, what about Cuba?
That hasn't started yet, and I'm sure that's going to be a mess too.
You can say it hasn't started, but let's put it this way. What has caused the problems in Cuba right now?
Venezuela.
Venezuelan oil has been cut off.
Yeah.
Who cut it off? Trump. So
yeah.
He has started it.
Yeah, it's kind of an unfinished project, I think.
Yeah, he's got all these little irons in the fire.
Yeah, there's a lot of little projects going on with Iran being the biggest one, of course.
I'm not saying I fault him for any of that stuff.
I'm not either.
I agree. A lot of that should be happening, but I think once you start something, you don't just stop and then expect, we'll pick it up again maybe next month.
Later. Yeah, we'll get back to you on that.
Yeah.
We'll get back to you. No, I agree. Like I said, I really haven't been too upset about any of this stuff, except when he told those people that he was going to help them if they, started killing them, and somebody didn't get right in there.
Yeah.
That was, to me, was a 39,000 dead people disappointment.
Yeah.
That was not right. And, something could have been done immediately, but it wasn't.
And then what is his word to the people of Iran? It's like, okay, we're here, we're killing your leaders, and we want you to step up now and start to take over the country. Why would they want to do that?
Yeah, and there's no format for it. I mean, it's like, how do you do this? There's no constitutional convention. There's no administration in place. There's nothing to take over.
Yeah.
That's the problem that I see, is you just don't have anything to take over yet. You're starting from scratch. I mean, literally starting from scratch. The other thing is, the military and everything that we put in there, they're not in there to help with that process. They're there to blow up infrastructure for Iran's war-making machine. But they're not paying any attention at all to the day-to-day activities on the ground of forming a new government or anything like that.
Right.
So this is definitely not what you'd call a regime change operation. I can't figure out what kind of operation it is yet.
Basically, I think it looks like what they want to do is they want to destroy the country.
Yeah,
And
their
then-
means of manufacturing anything for sure.
And then after that, they'll turn it over to the people and say, okay, here you go. Now, clean up the mess. Go ahead and do your thing.
Yeah,
What's our thing?
I know. Like I said, there's not any format for being a thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you're going to start a football team, there's a league, so you have a format. You know, if you start a team, you have a format. In this situation, there is no format.
Yeah.
What is this? What is this beer?
Pale ale.
Crazy Carabao?
Yeah.
Ah, it's really that's a good one. I like their IPA, but this one's really tasty too. It's nice to have it on draft here.
I confused my wife and all the kids last night. I looked up caribou and carabao. My wife was surprised that we would have caribou in Canada. And I said, honey, caribou is not carabao. And I showed her a picture of a caribou. She says,
Yeah, they're a little different.
she says, well, that looks like a reindeer. I said, right. I said, carabao are water buffalo. Caribou are reindeer. But I says, they sound the same. Spelling almost
the same. Yeah. Getting back to Trump stuff, I think we're just going to have to wait and see. They said this is not a short-term plan, and that it's going to go on a while.
Yeah, you hear like in a week we're going to have them wiped out. Then 2 weeks. Now they're saying, oh, it's going to be at least a month. Now it's like it is going to be long term. So
Yeah, which is it?
I sort of get the impression that once they started the attack, they discovered that there was more there than what they thought.
That could be the case for sure. I mean, there's, those guys are still shooting missiles at people.
Yeah.
So there's definitely more there than I thought.
You would think by now they would have destroyed their whole stockpile of missiles.
If they knocked out, they said between 90 and 900 and 1,000 sites that they hit, you would think that they'd be pretty much out of missile launchers.
Yeah.
Apparently they're not.
Of course, it's not just them. It's their little buddies in all the countries around them, too.
Yeah, the Houthis and Hezbollah and all those people.
Yeah.
But now, the Iranians have pissed off all of their buddies too, all of the other countries, because they've been hitting those guys hard too.
Yeah.
Not just hitting the U.S. bases and things. They've been hitting the hotels, apartment houses, and
Yeah, and they're very indiscriminate in their shooting.
they are. And that's
Sort of like Putin.
yeah, like Putin. That's not gonna go well for him, I think.
Yeah.
And
Now,
these other guys are
Putin-
going to move in closer to the
Putin's
U.S.
excited about all this. People are going to want to be buying oil, and they can't get it necessarily from Iran. So, well, hey, we've got some over here in Russia.
If they can get it to you.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
That's a problem too. I don't know. This is it's a big one that they've started there, and the thing, like you were saying, is that Trump's got so much unfinished business, and I'm sure they're working on it, or I guess they're working on it. But they've got things to do, and it looks like they need to prioritize things a little bit. Venezuela's got to be straightened up. They're already starting to cause problems again. Mm-hmm. That just can't work. They can't be doing that. So they definitely need to prioritize, and we've definitely got the people to do it.
Well, you got to remember, Venezuela is not just a standalone country. They
have allies too, just like anybody else.
They've got Russia as an ally.
Yeah.
They've got China as an ally. And let's face it, those are not just little spit in the puddle type of group. That's pretty powerful.
It's powerful, but there is a problem with that. Is that Russia is busy and China's pretty far away. And so there's, it's not like they can just, drop in and come to your aid, like calling the policeman on the corner.
Yeah, but they've got other ways. I mean,
Yeah, there's always other ways.
there's like they've got their satellites up in the sky to be able to monitor things. They've got just all kinds of stuff they can
help
happen
them with,
to make life really difficult.
Yeah, and that's what's going to happen. I mean, it's an unfinished project.
Yeah.
It is. And, to even think about taking on Cuba now, I think is a mistake because, you've got two serious irons in the fire right now. And adding a third, I don't think is going to help anything.
Personally, I think if Cuba was smart, they would go to Canada and they would say, could we become your 11th province?
Yeah.
Join Canada. Mm-hmm. I mean,
they've always gotten along good with Canada.
Sure, we've invested in their infrastructure. We're good friends with them in many ways.
Business with them.
Well, we're their number one source of tourism.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And that would slam the door shut in terms of Trump wanting to get all his hotels back up in Cuba.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably one of the big things that he's looking for. He wants a whole bunch of Trump resorts there.
Trump resort everything. Yeah. I know they'll be making our military base there into a resort. Everything will be a resort. Trump's name would be all over the place.
Yep.
He'd probably call it Trump Cuba. I think that could happen.
And their rum would probably become Trump Select or something like that.
Trump Select, yeah, and all the resorts would be Trump something or other.
Yep.
Yeah, that's for sure. Hey, I was going to ask you something. I've got several friends now that are starting to think about moving over here to retire. I was kind of wondering about that. What would motivate somebody, first of all, to come here to retire, and then what obstacles are they going to have if they're just little fresh out of the USA guys? Don't have a lot of experience in Asia or traveling or Europe and stuff like that, and they come over here to retire, they're going to be kind of surprised, don't you think?
I think any time you want to move to a different country, there's going to be a truckload of adjustments.
Ton of adjustments.
I've lived in Africa, I've lived in Europe, I've lived in Asia, as well as North America. And even coming back to North America after being gone,
it's different.
It's a big adjustment. To say that, well, I'm going to go to Philippines because I hear that it's easy because people speak English. Yeah, they do, but they also speak their own language. And if you're with a group of people, they're not going to automatically switch over to English because you are an English speaker.
No, it's their social language. So if you're out with a group, they're going to speak their social language, and they're not going to accommodate you.
That's right.
And that's for sure.
And that is a big adjustment.
Yeah.
I mean, I still adjust to that. My family still, when they, I can be talking to my wife, and one of her sisters or one of her older nieces will come in, and again, it's a cultural thing. There's no excuse me.
No, you're out of the conversation.
That's right. They'll just start speaking Tagalog, and of course, my wife, as soon as she hears Tagalog, her
brain and everything switches.
Yeah, and you have to get used to that, because if you get offended by it, you're going to be offended a lot.
Yeah, the thing that always amazes me is that you have people that they always say that okay, I want to retire to Southeast Asia. Maybe they've probably never been here. Maybe they've come over Philippines or Japan or somewhere on some holidays, or Thailand especially. They've come over on some holidays and they think it's going to be great and that it's going to be easy, and it's not. And it's the same with Europe. I've lived in Europe too, and it's not easy there. first of all, the retirement process isn't easy because you've got to have passive income or you have to be able to work when you get there. If you don't have passive income, you can't live there. Contrary to what everybody thinks, living in Vietnam or living in the Philippines is not free.
Yeah.
It can cost some serious money. And they really need to prepare more. They need to come and visit more than one time or two times. Maybe they need to come and spend a month here. They need to think about their life in the U.S. and about having passive income, whether that's their Social Security or pensions or savings. They have to have it because you have to be ready for an emergency over here if something happens to you or something happens to maybe your wife if you bring her or something. The other thing is how many people in the U.S., especially the U.S., they don't travel. I mean, they're not travelers. You go anywhere and you always find people, they're from the Netherlands or they're from Sweden or somewhere, and they're traveling out from Norway, something like that, and they're out traveling. You don't see Americans doing that much. They're just they're not travelers. If they take a big trip, they go to Florida or they go to Hawaii. Maybe Hawaii's an overseas trip for them.
Yeah.
And so I think that first of all, I think they make a mistake of not doing their research. If they're going to bring a wife or somebody with them, then they've got a real problem there too. That's going to be a difficult thing. So it's easier for a single guy or maybe even a single girl to go travel somewhere else and settle than it is for a couple. Couples would be really difficult.
One thing too I would recommend is if you're like a single guy or single gal and you're coming over to, say, to the Philippines, do some homework. Find out how much things cost.
Yeah.
Set a budget for yourself. Try to see how well or how far that budget goes.
Yeah.
Because if you're with Filipino people, you're going to find that sometimes the money has to go a little bit further because maybe there's more people and the expectations are, you've got money.
Well, usually the bill always goes to you.
Yeah.
If you go out to a restaurant with a lot of Filipinos and they bring the check, they walk over to you. The waiter will walk right to you and hand you the bill every time. You have to be prepared for those kind of things.
So a good exercise would be work out a budget and then for that particular period of time, see how that budget works.
Yeah.
Work in how much your accommodation is, how much you're allowing for meals every day, traveling around expenses, buying gifts and stuff like that, and miscellaneous. Miscellaneous has got to be a big thing because that's where your fudge factor comes.
Yeah. Wait, what year did you come over here? Approximately. We won't pin you down on that.
Yeah, it's back in the late 90s.
Okay. But you hadn't been here before that.
No.
Okay.
No. But it helped having a Filipina as a wife.
Yeah.
So that, but even so, we were there with her family. This was a middle-class family, so it still was expensive. Things like buying a refrigerator for the family for Christmas, that type of thing. That wasn't in the budget, but it happened. So those kind of things. But then after that, it was probably about another five years later. I went to Korea and I lived there for a year, and then from there I came back over here.
Yeah, and then of course you were in Vietnam same time I was.
Yeah, then I left here.
We were there a long time.
I was there for 7 years.
Yeah, I think we were there close to 10. I think retiring in the United States right now is just pretty impossible because of the cost of living. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Things that are so expensive. Unless a person really has a serious retirement income, pensions, or just has savings and investments and stuff, it's hard to make it. They're not going to make it on Social Security over there.
No.
No way. That's just out of the question. You'd be living in somebody's room out behind their garage.
Yep.
That's about the only thing you could do, and you would be eating little canned things, things that come in small cans. But,
yeah, like tuna, sardines.
Yeah, that's it. So I don't know. I think that people really need to do their research early. I came over here before I started 5 years before I started collecting, any retirement income. The problem with that is that you definitely have, if you don't have passive income at that point, you can't do it. Mm-hmm. And so I was lucky to be able to do that and come over and research it and decide if I like this place. And I went here, I went to Thailand, I went to Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, kind of looked around everywhere and pretty much decided that Philippines was the best place to go. But it was after looking at everything first.
Right.
And I think it's a great thing to be able to go out of the country. And there's opportunities for good retirement in Europe and places like that too. South America, Central America. But you got to do your research.
Yeah.
It is absolutely imperative. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to up and go." That's not going to work.
Yeah.
Not even if you've just got scads of money and it's just falling out of your pocket, it won't work. It doesn't matter.
And you've got to keep.
It's not just a money thing.
And you got to keep up with the current affairs in each of these countries.
And all the visa rules and all.
Yeah, a lot of people right now think, well, the best place to go because they pay the best money is Vietnam. I can go and teach there for a couple of years until my pension kicks in. That's not necessarily the case now.
No, they quit hiring old people.
Yeah, apparently once you hit your 60s now, they're not going to issue you a work visa.
Yeah, I don't think that's actually the rule, but it's the rule, if you understand. It's unwritten, but it just doesn't happen. They don't give you the paperwork, or they'll make it so difficult, and you'll have to have so much stuff to go through that it isn't worth it.
Right. See, for me, it worked fine. I taught there until I was 70. Mm-hmm. And they gave me a work permit all the time.
Yeah. I don't. Probably now. I don't think it would have been possible for you to.
Oh no! They would have cut me off years sooner. The thing is, my Canada pension and all that, it kicked in at 65, but I didn't. I chose to wait.
Yeah, because you get a little more.
If you wait till you're 70 or older, the pays a dividend. So. Yeah.
Well, that's the same in the U.S. The longer you wait before you take your pension, it gets bigger. But yeah, I think that's right. I think that the thing people really need to think about before they leave their home country is that, hey, this is my home country, and I really, I understand all the little tricks of living here, and you go somewhere else, you have to learn all the little tricks of living there.
Yeah.
And when you start looking at how many things you have to know to live in your own country, and then you have to know the same stuff in another country, it's a big learning curve.
Well, and I think, for instance, because my ex-wife was a Filipino, I got to know a lot of Filipino people in Vancouver area.
Yeah, in Canada. Yeah.
And I think if you are thinking of moving to let's say to the Philippines, probably it's a good idea to try to touch base with the Filipino community in your home country.
Right.
And
you know what the problem with that is? It's like where I used to live. Try to find a Philippine restaurant.
Oh, Vancouver, no problem.
You can't find one. And there's lots of Filipinos in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But there are, there are restaurants, nobody goes to them, they go out of business.
Well, see, Vancouver, we even had a Goldilocks, and this is back in the 90s.
Wow. That's just like having your foot in the door in Manila or something.
Well, it's pretty much the same thing. Their menu was basically the same. I knew all about my favorite flavor in Philippines is ube, purple yam, and
I know what that is. I like that.
I fell in love with it before I left Canada.
Yeah, I like those little things, the little baked things with the ube in the center that you can have for breakfast and stuff. Those things are delicious with coffee and hard to beat. Delicious breakfast snack.
My wife used to bring an ube birthday cake to me at the office in Canada, and the people in Canada, in the office, they would say, "Next year for your birthday, you can have some ube cake."
We probably need to cut this short. I think this Iran thing, we're just going to have to wait. We'll have to wait till old guys talking shit number 20, because this thing is it's in the early stages. There's no resolution in sight, and before we can really get serious about looking at what could be done, what has been done, things like that, we're going to have to wait a few more days. We're just going to have to keep our eyes on the news and see how it plays out.
Yeah.
That's about it. As far as affecting anything that we do or decisions that we make, I don't think that it really does.
Yeah.
But we are going to see, and not just are going to see, but we're already seeing some effects of it here in the Philippines. Gas prices have gone up.
Yeah.
Significantly. I think they were, a few weeks ago, they was like 51 a liter, and now it's 54 to 55 a liter.
The president said he's going to issue a decree to put a freeze on the price.
But so, we're seeing effects from that war in a country that's around halfway around the world.
Yeah.
That just amazes me. But, everything's tied together.
Yeah.
It really is. Communications and things out of there, you don't see anything. You see a lot of news on things like YouTube and all that, but you look at it and most of it's clips from old stuff. Mm-hmm. It's not the current thing that's happening.
Right.
And they give you the old clips and stuff, and then tell you the new stuff over the top of it, voice over the top of it.
Yeah.
So that's all you're going to get. Well, let's do this. Let's finish up our drinks, go have dinner, and head to the house. What do you think?
All right.
Sounds good to me. This is JR, the Texpat OTG, saying, hey, thanks for watching. We're glad to be with you guys and share what little we know about what's going on.
I'm Jeff, the Crazy Canuck. Take care.